Welcome everyone. We request everyone to kindly mute your mic and settle down for the session.
In case you have any questions for the panel, please feel free to raise your hand or use the chat box to ask your questions. We will begin the session in a short while.
Yes.
What happens when things come together? What happens when you question? What happens when an idea is born? And we begin to see the infinite possibilities that come to light when engineering answers the call of the imagination. For over 70 years, Larsen Toubro has put innovation to work in technology, manufacturing, engineering, and construction. L&T enhances the quality of life by building major infrastructure projects. Innovative technology makes the impossible possible and even creates landmarks below land. We build ports and airports, the great gateways of the world, that don't just connect places, but bring people together. L&T fuels progress by building drilling rigs and platforms that tap into the ocean depths. Complete facilities for the production and processing of oil and gas are built on an engineer, procure, install and construct basis. In the mid and downstream sectors, we are a total solutions provider for refineries, petrochemical and fertilizer plants, enriching everyday life. We are the power behind nuclear, thermal and hydro projects. Our turnkey execution services extend from engineering, supply of equipment like boilers and turbines, to transmission lines, a range of capabilities to light up lives. Every drop matters. Water projects meet more than industrial and social needs. By using advanced technology to build projects for desalination, water treatment and distribution, we serve a vital human need. At the heart of giant steel plants, L&T's manufacturing and project execution expertise revitalizes facilities and expands capacity. We also offer bulk material handling systems, the giant arms that industry needs for growth. Larsen Toubro is one of the top heavy equipment manufacturers in the world, with a customer base spread over 40 countries. We set global benchmarks in the design and manufacture of process equipment for refineries, fertilizer, petrochemical, and coal gasification projects. Our capabilities extend from shipbuilding to aerospace. Precision facilities deliver the high accuracy levels essential for aerospace applications. For the nuclear power sector, we manufacture end shields, calandria, nuclear reactors, and steam generators. Strength is a prerequisite for peace. L&T works closely with national establishments to design and produce sensors and weapon systems, missile and rocket launchers that add mind and muscle to the defense forces. L&T's world-class switchgear ranges from air circuit breakers to meters. Custom-engineered switchboards and automation systems have established a reputation for reliability across demanding applications. Our medical equipment touches life with the assurance of quality. L&T's range of construction and mining equipment covers excavators, surface miners, tractor undercarriage systems. Our state-of-the-art valves, manufactured in India and in China, control the lifelines of industry. We are a leading manufacturer of tire curing machinery, plastics processing equipment, and welding alloys. We do more than build infrastructure. We actively participate in the public-private partnership program of the government in developing roads, ports, airports, power, and water projects. Our financial arm leverages L&T's experience in equipment manufacture and turnkey projects to fund infrastructure growth. The finest minds of industry are at work at L&T Infotech. We leverage our corporate heritage and business to IT connect and provide the winning edge to our customers. Through integrated engineering services, we help clients reduce time to market by applying our expertise across domains. At L&T, we see the world without boundaries. We have forged enduring business relationships and won the trust of global players. We are conscious that to truly spread progress, we must share its fruits. Our training institutes help youth become productive participants of society. All this from one creative spark, ignited 7 decades ago, when two minds sharing one vision came together to build a company of vision and values. A company of people whose profession is their passion. People who seek challenge. People who question the limits. People who redefine scale. Because we believe that boundaries exist only in minds that accept them. For us, at Larsen Toubro, it's all about Imagineering.
A warm welcome to everyone for this session of Women in Tech Community of NIT Trichy.
In association with Technical Council and Student Council, we are glad to present the panel discussion by female leads from Larsen Toubro Limited.
So today we have our final year seniors who have launched this Women in Tech Community here. We would like to know from our seniors about what Women in Tech Community is and what their brief vision is to share to the audience. Sandhya, you're muted.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Ishani, you're there. Do you want to start? Probably tell them a bit. All right, cool. So I'll go ahead. So the Women in Tech community is something we've all wanted to do for a long time, but it just did happen because we weren't very consistent with our efforts, or there was a lot of there were a lot of things, a lot of structure to bring in, and a lot of things to think about. we had to get to the root of the problem of why there are so low number of women in tech. So what we did is we launched it this time, and we made sure that we try to extend to as many technology fields as possible. And this was to improve the skewed gender ratio and basically encourage a culture of sharing. So what we aim to do is to help everyone who's interested in STEM in general to reach out and to grab a multitude of opportunities that we will be sharing with all of you. So with mentorship from the alumni and through sharing of resources and through active dialogue and such panel discussions, what we aim to do is to create a supportive peer group, basically one that believes in sharing and learning. And this is for all the girls in NIT Trichy to help each other to defy these existing stereotypes, and then they can, climb the ladder together. So for this, we have a Discord community. You can all join and be part of the discussions that are happening in the Discord community, and you can also watch out for more events. I will just post the link over there, and even post this session, we'll release a feedback form for not just this discussion, which is happening now, but also for all the activities that happened previously conducted by the Women in Tech. And also, we would also hope for you all to fill up what you expect as such from the community, like what kind of events you want us to have, which would be beneficial for you. So you can fill that out as well. So I'll just release the link, and Karthika, Nandhini, you can take the floor.
That was really inspiring, Sandhya, to know about the community. And I'm sure all the audience will be excited to join along for new initiatives that the community has to offer ahead.
So we have got an inspirational panel today. Like we have 3 people from Larsen Toubro joining. Renu ma'am, can you on your video as well? We have Krithika ma'am over here, who's a solution lead from Larsen and L&T-NxT. We have Krithika ma'am, who is the head design for manufacturing from L&T Heavy Engineering. We have Saloni ma'am, who will be joining shortly, very soon, so you can catch up with her as well. So we just introduce each one of you. Karthika, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's start with Renu ma'am. Dr. Renu Gupta is a metallurgical engineering graduate from IIT Roorkee, and she pursued a PhD in welding and corrosion from IIT Bombay. She has previously worked as head welding and metallurgy in Godrej and is the present head design for manufacturing at L&T Heavy Engineering, leading the fabrication and manufacturing of defense, aerospace, nuclear, and process plant equipments associated with IGCAR, PARC, and ISRO. We are very glad to have you with us, ma'am, as an inspirational woman for pursuing a career in metallurgy, manufacturing, and heavy engineering.
Yeah, thank you, Karthika. Hope I am audible to all, Karthika.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So we'll move on to the next speaker. This is Krithika Venkatesh. Krithika Venkatesh is an IT graduate from University of Madras and an MBA graduate from the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. She has worked at Microsoft as a support engineer in 2006 and began her career with L&T as an assistant manager, overseeing development and implementation of process automation. She was a key member in digital transformation initiatives at L&T Construction, primarily in the area of worker and safety. She is currently working as a solutions lead at L&T-NxT, where she manages multiple products in her portfolio. We are very glad to have you with us, ma'am. You are a highly self-driven individual to enlighten us about software and Industry 4.0.
So we have Saloni Gupta ma'am, who will be joining in the session shortly. So she's a chemical engineering graduate from Pune University, and she's a proud alumnus of IIT Bombay Piping Engineering and Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, with over 16 years of experience across industries constituting FMCG, plant engineering, predictive maintenance, and design engineering. She is currently the solutions lead of Industrial Internet of Things, from L&T Technology Services, front-ending the business process and discrete manufacturing customers, site audits for IoT platforms and solutions to shape consultative approach. We look forward to getting her insights on how digital solutions and IoT are transforming the industry today. So we'll just move on with questioning Krithika ma'am and Renu ma'am, and we'll have Saloni ma'am joining us shortly. So
Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, beginning of the panel discussion, we should begin with Renu ma'am. 25 years ago, what inspired you to choose metallurgy engineering at IIT Roorkee and subsequently pursue a career in welding and manufacturing?
Yeah, so first of all, a very warm good evening to all the audience who are present here. And thank you, Karthika, Nandhini, Saloni, and the whole team of NIT Trichy for conducting such a wonderful session. So coming to your question, like what you asked, what inspired me actually 25 years ago for joining the metallurgy. See, I will be telling at that time actually I was having a few options like either the production engineering or the metallurgical engineering. And considering that at that time in IIT Roorkee, the whole lot of metallurgy branch up to the 4 years, there were two girls at least, and when in production there was none. So I decided to opt for the metallurgy. So there was no specific reason. And regarding the career, as a metallurgy students, we all of us we used to think that we will be placed either in a steel plant or some materials processing plants unit, like in the forging or casting workshop. So the industries like Tata Steel, Hindalco, BHEL, etc. All these companies we are having in the mind. And it was the later, when after passing out, I was preparing for the gate, and when I moved to Mumbai, actually, that was the time when I came to know about the BRC. And it was really surprising for me that I came to know the BRC, they have so many metallurgists working as a scientist, and they are contributing in the selection of material or the various metallurgical aspects in the fabrication of nuclear power plant equipments. So that really inspired me to pursue my career in manufacturing. And then I got opportunity to join Godrej and Voice, and I think not many that time knew that precision equipment unit of the Godrej and Voice. Generally, the Godrej is basically known for the refrigerator and all these furnitures. So the very few will be knowing that at that time the Godrej, they were into the business of all the manufacturing of the missiles for the DRDO, for example. The BrahMos missile was one of the project I worked, and then the cryogenic engines for the ISRO, and along with the all heavy equipments for the oil and gas and fertilizers. So this was the beginning of my career in welding and manufacturing.
That was really nice, ma'am. Really nice to hear you about your journey. So we move on to Saloni, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. So we just introduced you to the audience right now. So we move on with the panel discussion. So starting as a chemical engineer and later on engineering IIT Bombay and then management studies, you have been in like various roles. Could you share your experience about your journey so far until you took up the role as solutions lead in LTTS?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Initially it's like you girls that we started our engineering career, and Renu and Krithika will agree with me. We were simple engineering students, not much exposure to what we can do. The way you are exploring today, LinkedIn, getting us together and giving so much of insight to girls. So I think this exposure was not there then. I totally agree with you. And not knowing anybody more from our family, it was very much up to me or us, what we can do with our future. So it was more experimental. I will frankly say it was experimental. I never had such goals or 5-year plans, or everything is like set. I have somebody in my family, uncle, whom I can say that this is my idol, I want to follow him. It was never like that. And after graduation, after getting some exposure to industry, 1 or 2 years, piping interested me because I already mentioned it. Piping is like veins, in our body. It connects every element. So I had a lot of inquisitiveness to understand about equipment getting connected, how these things are happening. We learn design and ethical parts connected, what are things that are required, studying. And why IIT Bombay, you will agree with me, absolutely amazing guidance, mentors that we get. And I was behind my father that yes, I want to do this for this to me, why I want to do this specialized course, which was not much aware by people around us. That was one. Next one came into phase was my executive MBA. Definitely this was not planned. After certain years with Taj Industries, which is a biofuel, manufacturing entrepreneur, a lot of years they have spent in, studying biofuels. So, understand supply chain. Like doing the design was one aspect which we learned from our engineering background. Second one was procurement, trying to understand how things come to the plant, how the transit time gets impacted, what are the schedules that can get impacted, what is the entire business cycle, and symbiosis. Yeah, symbiosis definitely gave me another level of see why we do this extra additional courses is because they add to our thought process. We are good in doing what doing, but the questions like what more I can do, how I can value add to my work, how I can give, what are the new ideas that I can put into. These were the always questions that I had on my mind, and definitely we try to take help from them, and they guide us. They are the best ones to guide us because they have a lot of things they can see as a bird's view, and our interest areas make them understand that they put us into these roles. It is not well planned or structured way, but yes, bosses definitely help us to take that next level. So that's how I picture myself when I see back. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your wonderful journey. And you were absolutely true about the LinkedIn part. I'm like shocked right now how you guys were able to network during those times. So yeah. So we'll move on to Krithika, ma'am. Ma'am, you started as an assistant manager at L&T, and now you've taken up roles of digital transformation roles at L&T Construction. So could you share some special moments that you have with L&T with us?
Sure. Thank you very much, Karthika. Good evening, everyone. Very happy to be part of this panel discussion. I'm actually very impressed I think like Saloni said, reiterating the point that you guys now have a platform in which you were able to connect with people and get to know about what's happening even before you actually get onto the corporate world. So, which is a great learning, and I'm sure that all of you present in this session today will have some learning to take back home. So, just to answer your question, Karthika, it is very. I must say that. I have always not stayed in one profile for more than 2 years. I get a little impatient. 2 or maximum 3 years. So that's how my journey has been with L&T as well. So when I joined L&T, I was actually with L&T Valves and trying to do technology, bring process orientation in the valves. Whether it is with the customer or whether it is with the manufacturing. So that is how I started. Then 3 years I couldn't just sit in IT or this so-called technology for long. So I actually moved on doing a lot of stuff in terms of trying to understand the valves business, trying to see how competition is doing, how I could contribute, in terms of learning, doing market research, and trying to find, show value in terms of what I can bring to the table. Because if you see R&D guys, if you see sales guys, they're all busy with their own jobs. So how I could bring something different, and more so because I'm from technology, I had no clue about valves. It kind of gave a completely different perspective to things. So that's what I did. And then I was also part of the very, very prestigious project of L&T Valves, which was supplying of valves for Reliance third phase, Jamnagar. So I was the key accounts manager for Reliance, executing this contract. And what is interesting is that I actually ended up selling valves for almost 3 years. But what I could again bring to the table was, what is different is because we have seen executing IT projects. So you use so much tools, which a normal sales guy is not. Sales guy typically stick to Excel. So I started building macros, trying to see how easily I can minimize the work that you will have to make. So that's how it happened. And suddenly there is this news about our current CEO and MD, Mr. S.N. Subramaniam, starting digital for L&T construction, and that was happening right in the same campus. So they had just formed. So I thought, oh my God, this is like a God-sent opportunity. So I thought this is definitely something I should capture. And it had been 3 years since I was part of Reliance project. So I thought, okay, this is a good break that I could have. So that's when I moved on to digital transformation. But having said that, I must say that I've been with doing digital transformation for the last 4 years. And I must say that it has been an absolutely exciting journey, for the fact that it is an industry which we thought that there's no way that technology could be done. So construction, what technology you could have, how you could pour concrete using technology, that's not going to change, right? So end of the day, you're going to build a bridge, you're going to build buildings. So that only involves design and construction. So where is technology coming into play? So that is what we started, and we completely changed the perspective of how you could look at construction industry today. Today, there are so many case studies happening, so many, I would say, consultant firms trying to talk to us to see how did you guys do digital transformation in construction industry. So that is what I was part of. So I'm very, very proud of that. I will definitely share some of the interesting things as we go along today.
Sure, definitely, ma'am. Sure. We really look forward to hear from you, and especially all of the points, definitely. So we move on to Renu, ma'am. Ma'am, you said you have been closely working with ISRO, BARC, IGCAR. So with fabrication and manufacturing processes out there, can you share your experience of any large-scale projects you have been a part of with such organizations, and what insights would you like to give to the audience?
Yes, Nandhini, as I think you must have seen in L&T that video, that flight you can see. So this is the flight of the ISRO, the PSLV and GSLV, and L&T Heavy Engineering. Actually, we have been manufacturing last many decades the motor casing for the ISRO. So this project is very close to my heart. The day I joined L&T, I have been associated with this project, and basically in this there is a very special steel which is called the maraging steel, because of its very ultra high strength property, and weight to strength, the strength to weight ratio is very high. That's why this steel is used in this flight component. And at Heavy Engineering we are doing the fabrication of this motor casing, and where it involves welding, heat treatment, machining, and there are a lot of critical quality aspects, the requirements which have been specified by the ISRO. So the whole team of Heavy Engineering working on this project, we are very closely interacting with the ISRO scientists, the people keeping the track of all these projects. So I can say this motor casing, which is 3 meter diameter, and the complete, if we join all the segments, comes to around 22 meter tall. So this becomes the first stage of PSLV or GSLV launch vehicle. So whenever like we see a launch, we there is a sense of pride in all of us. And I think the other you mentioned about the IGCAR also, the heavy engineering, we are actually in the fabrication of equipments for the nuclear power plants. So IGCAR, many of you may be knowing our national, the first fast breeder reactor power plant, which has been set up at Indira Gandhi Center of Atomic Research. So at L&T, we fabricated many equipments for this plant, and one I remember is the steam generator. And because there were total 9 steam generators in this plant, all have been manufactured, designed along with the IGCAR and NPCL at our heavy engineering workshop. And this steam generator is basically a typical heat exchanger, but because it is used in the nuclear power plant, so the quality norms, the inspection methodologies, they are very complex. And there was a complete inspection by the NPCL agency. Uh, so again, we were very closely interacting with the IGCAR scientists, the design engineers, and the NPCL surveyors. And finally, when we dispatched these 9 steam generator to IGCAR plant, it was a very uh, great satisfaction for all of us. So these are the few of the projects, when you talk about these projects, you feel, yes, you have contributed in the national projects. And though there are many technical challenges, and these projects, actually are sometimes starting from 2 years to 10 years, and continuously you are engaged working with the team. But finally, it's a great satisfaction because of the learning, the exposure.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
Nandhini.
you, ma'am, for letting us know about the various projects that you undertook at DARC, ISRO, and IGCAR, and the amount of satisfaction that you get while contributing. We can feel it from here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, next, Saloni, ma'am, I'm sure you must have undertaken a lot of projects at L&T. And so, could you share one special project at L&T that you feel very close to your heart? And also, I have one more question for you. You are currently a solution lead of IIoT, which is Industrial Internet of Things. And what do you think? How do you think IIoT is transforming industry transformation today?
This is a very interesting journey we have. We all are into this IoT thing. A very important few things which L&T-NxT, I think Krithika will agree, because there are, patented software. L&T TS has its own patented software, and our experience, helps us to link those software with the existing plant operation. Okay, so operation managers are our key people who who tell us that how bad their life is. So many unplanned shutdowns. There in last 3 years, we were able to understand these problem statements, populate and create those softwares, being our patented ones, and convert them to help them and make them to convert that unplanned to a limited one, but a planned one. And since when I say it's a journey, they were not always successes. See, today I'm trying to connect, and the network is showing poor quality all of a sudden, right? So when we say technology is very strong and important, but we have such surprises, and we are trying to find out, and then we know that we can join in. That is the power of joy or success, that when we convert them. One example I'll give you. One of our biggest customers, consumer goods, they had come with us that they have more than 28 plants across the globe. Energy auditing. Every year there are compulsory energy audits. So companies like this, huge companies, conglomerates, they want to find out how they can forecast and understand their budgeting plan. What is the manufacturing plan compared to the electric consumption, how they are going to so there comes our place where the algorithms, the software, help them in that power of giving a complete dashboard that how are the levels are getting mapped at group level, at department level, at global plant level, and get a feel of which plant is doing best, and then analyze why it's going best. So, is the management team going well? Is the equipment going well? Are the firms going well in that environment? Every pump in every plant works in a different way because there are so many parameters like vibration, pressure, temperature. The sensors help us to understand that pump health and links it to a certain hardware which converts into our dashboards. So that's a short story saying that complete 20 plants, audit and survey in 4 months, and getting those platforms converted into dashboards was a huge victory, giving them a savings of multiple million, billion dollars. So how do you calculate those? Getting a complete hold, making better decisions, helping them to understand why plants work better and not at equipment level, operations, activity, and getting control on the management part. So this is how we help them doing things. And being an engineering background and engineering, L&T being that engineering strength, we link that engineering to the software. We don't stand alone here. People won't understand a software or an algorithm, but when you explain them that this is the best, they have a trust in us. And that's how we're taking this industry to next level. And there are very much interesting software and solutions with L&T-NxT. I think you will have more questions with Krithika too.
Yes, ma'am.
So there are the management. So there are a couple of more. There is on go ahead.
Okay, ma'am, that was pretty insightful. Like we got to know a lot about how L&T Technology Services work. So we move on to Krithika, ma'am. Ma'am, I hope you have been to a lot of different places in India. Like you might have worked in different construction sites or a lot of more projects when you were in L&T construction. So, I mean, how proud do you feel as you being a woman in those projects? Could you share us any experience about that? Any special moments with L&T you had?
Sure. That's the beauty. I think Renu already mentioned. The best part about being with L&T is that you just walk on the road and you associate with everything that is happening around. And there is, being part of L&T construction, every flyover that you see, every metro that you see, you feel so proud that, oh my God, this is built by L&T. And there are many, I must say, there are many proud moments that I have. One very close to heart and very close to my home is actually the Chennai metro that happened, and the underground metro that came from government estate to Nandanam. So that was the stretch that I was personally part of, and 2 stations I actually saw it come from like scratch. I mean, in the sense that it was just excavated pit, and from there it came as a metro. So it is such a proud moment. That is one. And there are many sites that I've been through, and another interesting site is Statue of Unity. I'm sure all of you know that this is today is the tallest statue in the world, and I have actually seen it from the ground. And I must also say that I actually had climbed when the structure was like almost at the toe of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which itself is pretty high. So just for you all to know that though you see a statue outside, what's actually inside is actually a building. So it's a building that has a lift, and you actually climb. What they built is actually a structure, and the structure is facade with the statue itself. And what's interesting is also for you all to know is that the statue is not a full statue. It actually made of 6,500 bronze panels. So it was like a jigsaw puzzle. So that's how they assembled the Statue of Unity. So you have to know that. So you asked about digital, right? What technology is going to do? We had a greatest challenge. So you can imagine that there are two challenges that we have. So first challenge was um, the number. The number is huge. It's 6,500. Now, when I say 6,500 jigsaw puzzle that you will have to actually assemble on the building, that's the first challenge. And the second challenge was each of those 6,500, a panel itself is 2 meters. So you can imagine it's a huge one. And so what is important is that, so say for example, you're going to finish his part of the toe, right? It's not even, you can't finish one toe in a day also, just a part of the toe. You'll have to do one full circle. So that one full circle, you will have to actually assemble those panels together and do the welding, and then take the, the welded stuff, go to the actual site and do the installation. So that's how the Statue of Unity got built. Just for all of you to know just the work involved in building such a enormous structure and what goes inside that. So when the project was awarded, which just started, so these were presented to us as challenges by the project. And we also have an operation and maintenance contract of the statue as well. So it was important that we just not build the statue and forget it. We also have to maintain them, because there is wind and all that. So it is possible that the panels could get disengaged. So you might see some gaps in the panel, which should not happen. So it's a constant, maintenance work that has to happen. So when we were presented with this problem statement, so we were just given this, and we came back and did lot of work in terms of how we could implement technology to solve this problem. And what actually happened was, we actually did a mobile app, very simple. From there's a huge yard in which they store the 6,500 panel as it is received, and it's stored in a very organized fashion. And while it is coming and getting stored, you actually start saving in terms of, you have each of these panels have an identification number, and you actually put in and say that where it is being stored. So we actually made a mobile app for this. And what we also did was that we also fitted an RFID tag to each one of those panels. So before you decide, okay, I'm going to make this particular segment, right? So you immediately know what are all those panels that you need for you to make the welding. So you actually go around. It would say that you are in probably a row number A and bay number 2, but in that itself you will have 3-4 panels. You will have to pick the right panel. So with that, RFID came into use. We actually integrated the mobile with the RFID device so that you can easily pick up the panel, and then you come and do the welding, and it actually goes to the goes to the actual site, and then you do the installation. So you were able to track how many panels are going, what is the stage each of those panels. What's also interesting is that even today there is an RFID tag that's behind the panel, and that is what is being used for maintenance purpose. Say for example, if a maintenance engineer finds that there's some work needs to be done, a screw needs to be tightened probably in the panel because of the wind, so he just raises a ticket, and then the engineer actually goes to that particular location and adjusts that. So it made the job so much easy. So this is just one of the example, and it's actually a very proud moment for all of us when we had the Prime Minister inaugurate the Statue of Unity, because I have been there. I've actually climbed. They would not have lift to climb up, so we actually climbed floor by floor. I was probably in the 8th floor. So 8th floor, no staircase. Remember that it was all scaffolding. So you will actually have this so-called iron metal staircase. So that is what I had to climb to get to that top of the point. So it's a very interesting moment for us. And then there's so much more, lot of things. Even there is Mumbai Metro, and today we are building our Mumbai Trans Harbour link that connects the sea link. That's about 23 kilometers across the sea. So you're going to travel in the car for 23 kilometers in the bridge. So that is also another interesting project. I've personally, it has its own set of challenges. So what I wanted to actually tell is while it's very proud moment and very interesting to be part of, what is important for all of you to take care of is problems will come in different ways. It's just that how you see the problem, and it is also important that you have to have a right balance of technology. Not all problems can be solved by technology, but you will have to actually have a right balance and see how how you could aid someone to make his life easy. So that's what I want all of you to remember. Thank you.
That was a great answer, ma'am. And thank you for sharing so many interesting facts about Statue of Unity. We never knew how technology was, subtly incorporated into the construction of Statue of Unity. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing it. And yeah, so next we go on to Renu, ma'am. So as a woman in heavy engineering sector, what type of hurdles do you think we face? And what roles and opportunities should women in manufacturing take up to overcome those difficulties?
Yes, Karthika. So what you are asking, what are the hurdles like for a woman in heavy engineering?
Yeah.
See, still I will say the heavy engineering, and if you are associated in the manufacturing function, and it is more like the dealing with the people, in a heavy engineering workshop where all the workmen, the supervisors, the foremen, it's still is a male dominating industry. So the hurdle, as such, there are no hurdles, but just I want to give advice to all the young engineers who want to pursue their career in the manufacturing. See, the thing is, when today also, whenever a GET, like in L&T we call the graduate engineer trainee, whenever any GET, the young girl, she joins on the shop floor, the general tendency or the thinking of the people is, okay, like she will be here only for 1 or 2 years maximum, and then she will switch over, she will change the role. So basically, in the beginning of your career, when you are joining on the shop floor, you have to show your passion for the work. So you have to show your passion, your sincerity, then the people start taking you seriously. Yes, yeah, she is here to make her career in fabrication, in engineering. So then slowly and slowly, the people start trusting you. You build up some rapport with all the shop floor people, and then over the time you gain respect and that confidence in the top management. So basically, it's more like the dealing with the people and showing your passion for the work and sincerity. That is more important.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
what else I think you asked?
What roles and opportunities should women take to overcome those
Okay.
difficulties?
So in heavy manufacturing, I will say for the women engineers, there are a lot of opportunities in the design engineering. Because design is a very core function of any heavy engineering. We are into like the fabrication of the process equipments for the oil and gas, refineries, fertilizers, nuclear, aerospace. So that the design is the base. So design is the one function. And then the project management, there are a lot of now the engineers are joining, the women engineers, project management, planning. But I suggest any engineer, like if you want to pursue your career in heavy engineering, so you start your career with some exposure in the fabrication. So in the beginning, you join in the fabrication, get the exposure, learn the manufacturing aspects, and then you can switch over to design and project management.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, I'm sure like all the girls in the audience would have found more roles which they can take up in heavy engineering or any industries so to to come ahead. So moving on to Saloni, ma'am. So a lot of students out here are confused if they want to study further in the same domain or if they want to pursue an MBA to take up lead roles, or if they want to continue working in the job. So, ma'am, you've taken up a supplementary course in piping engineering, and you have taken up MBA from Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, and now you're leading a role at L&T as well. So, what kind of advice would you like to give to all the audience who are present out here?
Okay, great. So, there is one statement that Krithika mentioned, right? So it's about passion and seeing what you would like to do and understand and explore. So, totally agree with her. There are many things that we do in every day, in a single day, and working with consecutive projects, teams. There are people who inspire you, with their knowledge, with their decision making. That's that extraordinary out-of-box thinking and very critical problem statements that every project has. Every project comes with its own, peculiar challenges and, success stories. So, getting to think sometimes, you may take a Google and probably want to read and make your learning experience and enhance your learning experience. So of course, then there was not so easy network and not so easy mobile and reading and things like that. But definitely reading and getting what is the problem in our chemical plant, what went wrong. Understanding the lessons learned, understanding the failures, such things thoughts really stop.
Yes, ma'am. So,
and we understand more on what current work we are doing. So that's how I related. These things come spontaneous to your mind and to the opportunities.
That was really insightful, ma'am. So, yes, ma'am. So, we'll move on to the audience now. So, to all the
more examples.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. We'll move on to the next segment.
So, so we'll move on to the audience right now. In case the audience have any question to ask to the panel, feel free to type in your questions in the chat box, or we could even raise your hands to ask to the panels the questions. So, as you keep typing the questions down, Karthika, I'm sure 2020 has been a year where COVID has changed a lot of things in industry today.
And what new changes take up in different sectors to overcome the difficulties? We would love to hear this from all the three panelists.
So how the whole year has been, maybe you cannot work from home in industries, and L&T especially would have taken up a lot of roles within the company as well. And what can we think of these industries coming up in 2021? So we'll begin with Krithika, ma'am, as you were the head, like the worker and safety solutions lead at L&T. So if you would like to begin, and we'll hear about COVID and 2021 with L&T ahead in the next few minutes. And audience, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. We'll take up those questions soon.
2020 had been a very, very tough year, and more so for all of us, more so in L&T construction as well. What was interesting is that how you overcome those challenges. End of the day, you're pushed to the door. You will have to perform. You can't run away from that. So it is important that you find innovative methods of doing something. And what is interesting is that being with closely working with L&T construction, what we saw was suddenly that all the projects had to practically come on hold. what it actually means is that we employ about 300,000 workers, about 3 lakh workers across the country. So L&T Construction today is the largest employer of construction workers in India. So what actually happened during this lockdown was suddenly these 3 lakh workers all along, they are not employed directly, they are employed through contractors, but end of the day they stay in our labor colonies, and then they keep going to the site and do the job. And suddenly when this whole lockdown came, there were no projects, but they were all there in our labor colonies, which meant that we had to, there are two challenges. One is we had to continuously give them food and shelter without any job. We had to continue to do that, number one. And at the same time, we can't have any of you'll also have to maintain all the precautions that needs to be taken so that there is no COVID outbreak in the colony. So that those were the two challenges. So this is what we had to go through during the lockdown phase. And then what actually interesting happened was these this is the irony, right? You all know that these are migrant workers. They are not from the city where, say for example, you have a job in Mumbai. It's not necessary that the workers are actually from Mumbai. It's possible that the workers are from another part of the country. So what ironically happened was, entire lockdown they were all there in our labor colonies. As soon as there was this unlock that opened, everyone vanished. Everyone went back to their hometown. You can't blame them because they wanted to see their families. So suddenly what actually happened was, from 3 lakh workers, when we wanted to actually start working, when we were, when the government issued clearances to, start the projects and do some work, we didn't have workers because they all went back, and we only had a lack of workers staying. So which meant that almost 1/3 of the workers were only present, and all others were missing, which meant that though I have clearances and everything, the job cannot be performed because you don't have enough workforce. So this is essentially the challenge that we had. And about a year and a half back, we launched a product for L&T Construction to manage this whole journey of workers. It was called Visa, WISA, Workforce Induction and Skills and Availability. So what we had collected a lot of data about all these workers who are working in our sites. So what we actually did was, when this unlock was done and everybody vanished, we actually ran campaigns to send SMS to all these workers, asking them, requesting them to come back to sites. So we encouraged them not to come back to the same site, go to any other site which you like. So it doesn't have to, if you are from Mumbai, say MTHL site, doesn't necessarily you have to go back to MTHL site. We have a projects across the country. So we encourage them to say that go to any site. So what we ran was very, very specific campaign. So say, for example, there's a worker from Jharkhand. So we motivated them to say, showed them the projects that are running near to their location so that they can come back. And what the actually true result and what I feel proud of saying is that in about 20 days we came back on track. In just about 20 days we were able to bring back all the workers who had gone to their hometowns, and that was only possible because of the data that we had. And I'm sure if you Google SN Subramaniam's press releases that happened during lockdown, there were a lot of hopes on L&T at that time. So you would see that he mentions this in every other place or every other interview that he had. That was because it was a great challenge that we had to go through, and at least we had some data with us to enable us to overcome that challenge. And that is what I wanted to actually quote. And 2021 is going to be more challenging, I must say, not because of the lockdown. The lockdown happened, the unlock happened in 2020, but the effect of all this lockdown is going to be coming only in 2021. So we have more challenges to face in 2021. I'm sure that all of us will be able to overcome. We're all Imagineering people, so we will find innovative methods of overcoming that. Thank you.
Yes. So, Karthika, you are muted.
Yeah, so we'll be taking up the question that we have received in the chat box. This is to Saloni ma'am. So Himaja Vemula has asked, what are the opportunities for chemical engineers in L&T?
So it's the mainstream. Chemical engineering is mainstream. The way we have mechanical, electronics, and other core engineering. So definitely there is a lot of exposure, and design engineering is the one where we generally start our career with. Design engineering constitutes of three main elements. One is designing the layout of a plant, of a chemical plant, that we always study in our engineering courses. But we get an opportunity to design a real-time plant, see it grow in front of us, understand the complete construction cycle. So we have turnkey projects, we have all engineering, procurement, construction cycles in place. So it's an interesting field. So there are 3D models which actually show you how does the plant look like before even it starts working out. Then you see the schedule working along with it. So what is going to happen in the coming week, 2 weeks, how the entire work is going to get planned in a year's time. So chemical engineering is a very core, engineering this thing, and you have a lot of options there. You can be a static equipment specialist. You can design such layouts. You can be 3D model tool expert. There are many more. In fact, I would like to add specifically where you can go for process PNIDs. If you want to stick to the code, once you can go to create process PNIDs. Customers has its own. Patented formulas which they don't won't like to share with anybody else than L&T, because they have that trust. So L&T gives that opportunity to build that trust from the customer and help them improve their business. So there are two types of projects basically. One is greenfield project, where you have given a barren land and you have to construct the plant, the way Krithika mentioned. And the second ones are the brownfield projects, which the plant is already existing for 10, 15 years, 20 years. And there are a lot of problem statements into that. So your design, your innovation will help them, create it in a better way, optimize it, or how to improve the production. So these all are the areas where you can really work out as a chemical engineer.
That was really nice. I hope, Himaja, that answers your question. So we have the next question by Bhavani Bhagyashri in the chat box. So, keeping in mind the Indian family mindset, how are you able to manage career, family, and passions at the same time? Like, she has a person in her family who's struggling to manage all the three things in life, and she is feared, like, will I be able to manage or not? So, how is like a work-life balance for all of you? We begin with Renu ma'am or Krithika ma'am. So, Renu ma'am, like how do you manage your work-life balance?
Yeah, I think this is a very important aspect for all of us, and especially like if you have a family, you have a partner, you have kids, so you have to maintain the balance between the work and your family members. So, see, I can say there are a lot of factors which like we need to take care. Many times, like there are some projects where you feel they are very challenging, and if you are going ahead with working with these projects, there are a lot of more opportunities for your growth, and but it involves like a lot of traveling. So then you need a consent from your family. Okay, is it okay if you are doing excessive traveling? So then you need to take a call, and yes, if you can work on this project, or then you settle for some other projects. So such type of things are there. I personally, if I say my experience have been fantastic because my husband, he was in L&T. So we both were together in Larsen and Toubro. In fact, he joined L&T as a graduate engineer trainee, as a mechanical engineer from the same IIT Roorkee. So
Okay.
we really fortunately we had a great understanding so about the engineering professional and working together in L&T. So actually, I did not face any problem in maintaining the balance in my professional and personal life. But yes, the one advice I will like to give whenever you are choosing anything, like you should take the consent of your family members, which is always helpful for your maintaining the balance for your career and your personal life.
Thank you, ma'am, for addressing that question wonderfully. So we've received a lot of questions through the Google form that we've circulated before the session. So
Yeah.
we'll be taking some questions from the Google form. The first question we've received is from Nishok, production second year. How companies like L&T adapt to new designing methods like generative or topology optimization, which is useful to save cost?
So, if I share my experience in the heavy engineering, see, as I said, in heavy engineering, we are manufacturing the pressure vessels, so which are operating in a very severe conditions, very high temperature and very high pressure. So these are not structural jobs; these are very sensitive, very complex the pressure vessels. So and all these equipments, they are designed as per the ASME codes, which is American Society of Mechanical Engineers. So when you are talking about this topology and generative, I think the understanding is optimizing the shape and size of any equipment, and then with the help of the 3D printing, that is additive manufacturing, build you can build any shape. So that is the concept, right? So this concept in a pressure vessels design, it's being evaluated and at development stage. So currently we are not using this methodology for the design, but yes, the very few components wherever we feel the small tools or for the prototype, yes, we are using this design methodology. And I think maybe Saloni and Krithika, if you can add into this.
Okay, sure, ma'am. So maybe like that was pretty insightful to hear from Renu, ma'am, about your personal work-life balance. Maybe a very short, briefly, if Saloni, ma'am, and Kritika, ma'am, can also tell about your work-life balance. A very short, brief, how you manage your life at home. So we begin with
So,
Kritika, ma'am, and then Saloni, ma'am. Yeah.
sure. Um, like what you don't have to be worried at all. I don't know, the question came that it is worrying the fact that how a woman can perform considering that she has to manage family as well as work. That is something that you don't have to worry. So you will have to be open to be very, very open and be very bold to face. It is going to be a tough task, but you should not give up on that. So, and I must also say that this work would, if you are in a position that requires you to travel and do, you will have to, obviously, like I think Renu said, that you will have to get your family to be able to manage without you for whatever period that you are going to be away. So you need a proper supportive family to do that. And it is not just the family. You can't just wash away your responsibilities while you're while you're out of station. You will have to continue to do your responsibilities and ensure that you do your supply chain, set up all the supply chain done right before you travel. So that is something that you will have to definitely do. And this is the least of problems that you will have to think of. I should definitely say that don't even think about this as a challenge. So you have much more challenges to face. You will have more, you can't even think about, you will actually become a frog in the well if you actually continuously think that, oh, you know, family is going to be a problem, and it's going to pull you down and not able to perform to your fullest potential. So don't ever think that, I'm not saying family is not okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you don't think that as a problem to manage. It's something that it's your responsibilities. You will have to do that as your responsibility. So don't ever think to that. All of us are living examples. We are talking to you the fact that we have families. We've been running families for many years now, and still managing to perform well in the organization. So that itself stands to prove that it is possible.
Sure, ma'am. So we have like around 40 minutes left. So we have quite a lot of questions in Google form and in the chat box coming up. So we request all of you to give quick, brief answers so that we can keep asking you more questions so that the audience can get further more insights. So like a short answers for all of the questions which we have piled up so far. Karthika, move on with, could you ask the next question?
Yeah, so we've received a question from Merlin in the chat box. She was curious regarding the fact that students are usually oblivious of the corporate world. How did the shift from being in college to going to a professional world affect you? What all changes did you personally feel? We'll start off with Saloni, ma'am.
Yes.
So there are 2-3 things which come to my mind quickly is to understand what kind of work you're doing and giving your 100% to the work which is allotted to you. Not thinking that whether it's biased, unbiased, why am I giving this? Why am I given this work? Am I something a female candidate, a male candidate? So I think this question should not come to your mind. Just quickly take the work as that is allotted to you, give your best shot to that, and see what feedback you get. The lessons learned are the ones which take you forward.
Yes, ma'am. That was pretty nice. So I hope, Merlin, it answers your question. Like, maybe as you shift from your college to your professional world, like it's up to you to take up the work with a lot of passion. Ma'am, moving on to Krithika, ma'am. Like, how is exactly artificial intelligence, process automation? These are like big words which all the students are really wanting to learn, like machine learning and everything. So you've been working with software as well and in L&T. So how is it exactly transforming the industry today? Like we have a question from a mechanical student. Like she want to know what software skills do you need for industry? How is artificial intelligence, process automation changing the world today?
So to answer this question, I think I kind of told you the answer when I was explaining before also. See, AI and all this are technical words. What you will have to look for is of its applicability for a particular problem that you are trying to solve, and that is what you will have to look at. Every problem could be solved, if you apply the right technology. So it makes no sense to put a Benz engine in an auto or the other way around, right? So you will have to really see whether it is artificial intelligence or whether it is IIoT, what actually makes sense to do to a particular problem, and that is what we need to look at. AI is anyway, AI is a huge area. It's like in that itself you have various things to learn. You can actually do data science. You can become a statistics itself is a area of work. So like this, modeling is a particular area of work. Computer vision, image processing is another area of work. So you will have to really decide. Don't call it as AI anymore. Start drilling down to understand what is it that you want to do in AI and start focusing on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for the answer. So to Renu, ma'am, we have received a question from Bhavana, ICE first year. What are your views on female entrepreneurship in today's world?
Female entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah, I see there is a lot of opportunities for a female, female leaders in all the field. See, because the one difference when I see today and when we are talking about the 25, 30 years back when we joined the industries, I really appreciate the today's generation. They are completely unbiased for the gender person. Like I can say today about my team. I am leading a team of about 15-20 young engineers, and they are accepting a woman leader, a woman boss in the office, you know, with the same G. Absolute, they don't have, they never distinguish. So that is the beauty of the today's young talent, I say. So you all, the young ladies, you are very fortunate. The colleagues you are going to have, the seniors you are going to have in all the industries, they all are supporting completely unbiased. So there are a lot of opportunities. So it's just a mindset. You have to decide in which field you have that passion, you want to build up the career, and you can be one of the leader or one of the entrepreneur.
That was really nice, ma'am. We have a question from Manikanta of Mechanical First Year. He wanted to know why is getting a good core job after completing engineering very difficult? That these days market of core jobs have been reduced. So how do you think what type of skills someone should have to get placed in core industries today?
Can I answer?
Yes, sure, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
So there is nothing called core job or core industry. It is very
okay.
simple. Your destiny is what is important. Adaptability is very critical, and it is the order of the day. We all saw 2020 is a very classic example of how we should adapt ourselves. So I don't believe in this is my view. I'm sure, I don't know, Saloni or Renu, if you have a different view, please press it. So my view is there's nothing called core job. There's nothing that, oh, I did mechanical, so I should be placed only in mechanical doing a mechanical job. Nothing of that sort. It is only what is your heart is saying. If you think that this is the job that you want to do, you will definitely get placed in that. And there are tremendous opportunities available across domains to do that. So I don't believe in that as yet. Don't get yourself stereotyped to that. Just understand be very clear of what you want to do, and be very focused on that and do that. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for that crisp answer. So, to Saloni, ma'am, what are some of the essential skills and technology that one needs to know to follow your career path?
Okay, so I agree one point with Renu. It's about mindset. The skills are not, always with us. Gradually, as we work and progress along with the team, and the project statement, the work that we do helps us to build those skills. And I'll tell you one fact that technical things we always learn, but those internal powerful things that we already have, that are tested. It's never the technical parts we keep learning, growing, taking up projects, working with so many leadership teams. But your mindset, your ability to give your best, and doing justice to the work that is allotted to you, those are the factors are very important. And you will keep growing and doing, putting your mind and giving that innovative approach to your work.
That's really nice, ma'am. So, in case audience have any questions, please do type in the chat box. So we have one last question. Audience, feel free to type your questions. We'll definitely take it up ahead. So, to Krithika, ma'am, we have a question from Himanshu Singh, civil first year student. He wants to know, where do you see construction sector in the next 5 years?
That's a big statement to ask for, but
Yes.
I would say that it will definitely be a transformed sector. So it would definitely not be what you have seen in the past, in terms of just as a brick and mortar business. It will be much more advanced, much more suitable for the millennial generation. So that is what it will transform to be. I really don't know business side of business construction sector, so I can't comment on that. But I can definitely promise you that what you're going to see as the way a construction is done will be completely different from how it was done probably a couple of years ago. Yeah.
That was really nice. Like in case audience have any question, we can definitely take it up. So we want to like a last question to all the panel members out here. So we come to the end of the session very soon. So like what are your final closing views for the audience out here? Your vision for women in technology. So we would like to hear from each one of you about your vision for women in technology. So we'll begin with Renu ma'am.
So you're asking about the vision in technology.
Yeah, like what are your views for women in technology? Like, do you really feel like there has to be a lot of scope, like a work in it where women needs to give a lot more of opportunities ahead?
Yeah, women in technology, starting from, I will say, from the R&D sector to manufacturing, there is a tremendous scope. When I said, like, when I was working with the DRDO or the BRC, the ISRO, and there are the many research laboratories. The people are working on the research front, the engineering aspects. So, for a women technology, there is a scope in the R&D, there is a scope in the design, then there is a scope in the manufacturing segment. So, as said, there are no boundaries when you are talking about the technology per se. So basically, see, as a technology, like if I talk about my career in welding, like I spent almost 25 years in the welding technology and the manufacturing. So we have, working in the industry, you have to update yourself. What is the latest trend in the market? What are the latest technologies being developed? You have to be updated yourself, and continuously you have to evaluate. So what are the techniques, the technology you can use in the current business, whatever you are into it. Like if you are into design, you can explore what are the softwares where I can easily go for the 3D modeling. When you are in the manufacturing, like when I was in the welding, so I was continuously keeping a watch over the latest technologies being developed, and continuously I was exploring, evaluating for the heavy engineering fabrication, where I can implement, we can adopt this technology in the manufacturing segment.
Okay, ma'am. So moving on to Saloni, ma'am. Would you like to like share something with the audience in your final views?
Ma'am, you're on mute.
So we move on to Krithika, ma'am. We'll get back to Saloni, ma'am, soon. Krithika, ma'am. So your final closing views for all the audience present here.
So I want to close saying, you remember A, B, C. So I thought I'll make you all remember what is critical. So A, be very, very adaptive. When you come into the corporate world, you have to be very, very open to be adaptable to the kind of environment, and also the various challenges that are given to you. You should just be open to take those challenges and execute them well. That's number one. That is A. B, very important for women, be very bold and brave. Don't ever shy away from anything that says that, oh, you are a woman. Don't ever do that. That's for B. And C, be the change and take control. So you have to be any chance that you get, that you can prove that you can be the change, go ahead and take that, grab that opportunity and take control of all the things that you can do. So women are known to be multitasking, great at multitasking. So you have to take control of the situation and manage it pretty well. So those are the ABC advice from my end.
That was amazing, ma'am. Especially like to get to know, to be adaptable, to be bold, and to be the change you all of you want. I think we will all take it up as something to take forward. So
We'll
moving
be
on.
making this as a motto, ma'am.
Yes.
A community motto.
Yes. So, Saloni, ma'am, would you like to conclude or share your
Yes.
final view?
Yeah, definitely. So I believe in four potentials. So we were all talking about the technical skills, which are our mental potentials. Okay, there is one very important is physical potential. So I have spoiled my health for the first 10 years by being, learning and, not taking care of the health. But that's very important. So this physical potential is very much important, which takes us to the long run. Third is the emotional potential. So we should be, our family is our strength. So one of my mentor had once mentioned that having a support, there are two ways a woman gets successful. One is having a supportive family. The other is when she doesn't have a supportive family. So in any case, we win. So that are certain formulas which we need to take care, and I think there is no limit now. The world does not have any bias anymore. We can do it.
That was really nice to hear, ma'am. So we move on to the conclusion and towards the end of the session. Karthika?
Yeah. We would like to thank all the panelists for taking out time from your schedule, from your busy schedule, to join us for this informative session.
And a very huge thanks to the Technical Council and the Student Council of NIT Trichy for helping us make this panel discussion event a grand success. Um,
Thank you to all the 20 plus audience who are present here. We really, really hope each and every one of you, had few significant insights to take away from this discussion.
So moving on to the very end, so we have the women in tech community final year seniors who would like to share their views on the meeting, and if you would like to share anything more further for the new initiatives to take up in 2021. So we have Anmol Panda, we have Sandhya Sarvanan and Ishani Srivastav who would like to share a few words on the conclusion.
First of all, thank you so much for joining us. As a final year mechanical engineering student myself, I've faced many of the things that you guys just shared. What we would probably look like in the future. Very nice to have real life inspirations, and I would have actually left this if I had in first year. I'm very much sure that our our juniors will be enjoying it a lot. A huge from the women in tech community of NIT.
Shantia, you're on mute.
Yeah, so thank you so much, ma'am, ma'ams, all of you for being here. There was a lot to take away from this session, from like not from erasing a lot of stereotypes to just a lot of insightful value systems to take away, as in like how to take life as it comes itself. So I found all of your views like something really inspiring, something very insightful. So thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the time and telling us all about your experience, which would in turn enable us to have a better experience. Probably, let's hope for that.
Yes, and we have a short feedback form to all the audience out here to fill it up. Sandhya, you could put it up in the chat box. So, we would like to hear from all the audience about what new initiatives you would like women in tech community to take up in 2021, and a few more views as well from all of you. So please do fill up the feedback form. Also, we request everyone to join in the Discord group, which has been shared previously, so that a lot of new events which is going to be happening ahead, all of you can be a part of. So thank you so much.
Signing off, this is Karthika, G. Kumar and Nandhini SR. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Great to be part of this. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.